Hello, Nick family. Welcome to my channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk. Today, we are going to talk about how the Knicks can address that wing position. The Knicks got some decisions to make. If we're going to go, if the Knicks are okay with going into the lottery, they just want to develop the young players. They're not, if you make the playoffs, fine. If not, doesn't matter. The priority is these young guys. That that's going to have a lot to do with what direction that they take in terms of what they do in the offseason. If, like Leon Rose said, he was disappointed in the offseason, he thought they would take the next step, and they're looking to make the playoffs next season, then that also kind of drives how they're going to address the wing position in the offseason. I'm joined today by, let me get to that screen, Divine from Knicks Real Talk. Appreciate you. I am Jarrell. Appreciate you. How you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good, sister. Glad to be here. Glad to be on Dope Sports Talk with you, sister. To support the channel and talk Knicks, man. I'm excited about being here. Appreciate you having me on. Let's get it.
Absolutely. Let's get it.
Thank you for inviting me, Steph. Devon, you're two of my favorite NBK members of the family.
I appreciate
Really?
Not gonna lie, man.
it.
When I first started watching NBK, I believe both of you were on the episode that I watched.
Mhm.
And Mark.
And
Salute
Mark.
to Mark too.
And salute to Mark too.
Yeah, so all of you are memorable in your takes and how you go about talking about the Knicks. So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. I know we've on with you a couple of times, man. And we know
Mm-hmm.
it's always a pleasure. Anytime you with the NBK fan, man, the Power Father, aka Mr. Organic, I call him because he's one of the original dudes.
Yeah.
I
There
got
you
a new
go.
name called AKA Mr. Organic. He's original. But yeah, it's always a pleasure being without down there with the family, man. You know, I grew and started another channel, so time consuming. You can't be everywhere. So,
Right.
I
Right.
make sure I jump in and support the sister because she supported us from day one. So, I appreciate that.
Definitely. Remember them early morning shows?
Facts. I'm like, what are you doing, bro?
I would get up early in the morning. I'm like, Devon. I said, let me hop on.
Yes,
But
indeed.
I appreciate y'all. Let's get right into it. The first thing I want to talk about, like I said in the intro, the answer to what the Knicks do with the wing position hinges on the direction that they want to go next season. So the question I have for you is, what do you want the Knicks to prioritize next season? And what do you think they will do? Like, do you want the Knicks to prioritize the youth? You make the playoffs, fine. Don't worry too much about that. Or do you want the Knicks to prioritize the playoffs? And then what do you think they will do? Right? Because you can want them to do one thing, but they'll do something else. So I'll
Yeah.
start with you, Devon, and then I'll come to you, Jerome.
Yeah, hey, sis, you know what? For me, this is, for me being a Knicks fan for so long, this is the first time in a long time that we had this much youth homegrown youth on our team. I mean, unbelievable. All the way from Mitchell Robinson to Quentin Grimes and Sims and all these guys. We got like 9 or 10 players there that literally came up through the Knicks draft system. So I'm kind of excited about that, and I like the way they play. I like the energy. I would like them to prioritize with that. I do think they talented enough. Maybe we sprinkle in a couple of players here or there. They still can make the playoffs. I think this team is. I think these guys are that good. So I'm really looking forward to the maturation of all these young guys. I think the Obi Toppin and Manuel quickly thing for me, it's going to be interesting going into the next year. 'Cause I think with a off season of workout, just getting better, mastering your craft, and
Mm-hmm.
just get better at what you do. I think they got to come into this next season and really make cause a problem for the Knicks organization. So I'm hoping that's the case. Because after watching Tyrese Maxey, Emmanuel quickly got to be feeling some type of way. I just want to be like where he at. You know what I mean? So I really like the youth thing going on. Like you said, we don't know what the Knicks going to do, but I still think we can go with that youth, add in a couple of veterans here and there, and let them guys just go play, man. And I think we're doing it the right way. You know what I mean? Between, you look at the Tim Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker, and, these
Mm-hmm.
guys who got all these guys through their foreign system, and they came up together. We haven't had this in New York in a long time, and I'm excited about it. So I think they should just roll with these young guys and build around them from a couple of years. And by then, I think they'll be reaching a certain level. Then you just bring in somebody to take them over the top. But that's what be my direction anyway.
Okay. Do you
Cool.
think that's what they will do?
I don't know, man. With this front office, it's hard to say because after seeing what we seen in the playoffs, they might be wanting to get a taste of that. You know what I mean? They might want to say, man, look at the NBA, it's exciting right now. We got Julius Randle. Do we need another piece to put with him and RJ and all that? So you know what? I'm hoping they go the way I would like them to go, but I think they might still try to go in there and bring in a if Donovan Mitchell is possible or Jalen Brunson. Who knows? I think if some of these guys is available, I think they'll swing for the fence. I really do.
Okay, Jarrell.
When it comes to the wings, I actually like, for me personally, I'm a youth movement type of person. So for me, it'll actually be RJ and Cam as I start in
Okay,
2 and 3
okay,
for me. But that also depends on Cam, though. It's huge on Cam because if he comes back from that shoulder injury, the sky's the limit for him. Like I live in Pennsylvania, so I've actually been watching Cam since he was a junior in high school, at least
oh
paying
wow,
attention to him.
okay,
So he was Mr. Pennsylvania when he was in a senior in high school. On to went to Duke, and everybody knows the story from there. But I actually like the fact that him and RJ are playing together. So for me, I will put Fournier on the bench. Obviously, I'm not starting Burks anywhere on
mm-hmm,
our team. And,
mm-hmm.
he'll come off the bench too. So hopefully they could be our wings coming off the bench, and I would like to start, our young guys. Now, do
Okay,
I actually think they're going to do that? Absolutely not. Like this is Tibbs we're talking about. So I actually think Fournier will still go in as a starting two guard. RJ will be at the three. Cam will come off the bench. Hopefully, all depends on what we're doing at point guard. They will put Burks back at the two, and he'll be coming off the bench too.
yeah,
Hopefully, for me, well, it's not point guard conversation, so I guess Emmanuel quickly. I know he's not a wing or anything, but if we do get a point guard in here, he'll probably be playing more of the two. So it'll probably be a log jam when it comes to that. We haven't talked about Quentin Grimes yet. I'm a huge
right.
fan of him. So to me, like you almost can't bring anybody in unless you take somebody away. So I can't predict trades. So as our roster is set for right now,
Mhm.
I mean to me it's not looking good because I don't think they're going to do what I want to do. But I would like the youth movement, but I don't think they're going to do
Yeah. Well, for me,
it.
I want the Knicks to make the playoffs, but
Mm-hmm.
next season, but I want them to do it responsibly. So
Okay.
I'm not for we're gonna trade all of our young guys for somebody that's 33, 34 years old just so we can make the playoffs. That just doesn't work
Right.
for me. I feel like we've been in this rebuild since 2013. We made the
Mm.
playoffs last year, but we've been building through the lottery since 2013. And Divine, you're right. We finally have a good core of young players. We got 8 players under 25. I don't
Mm.
think all of them, are going to be here going forward. And I don't think all of them are going to reach their potential. But the key is they're so young, you don't know who will and who won't. Right. And so the question is, like you're saying, do you just let them marinate, as somebody said? You let them marinate season after season and then see who pops. I just don't. So for me, I don't want to skip ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I want the Knicks to try to make the playoffs if they can do it responsibly. That's what I want. If you can bring in a Donovan Mitchell who's still young, like I don't
Mm.
trade for old vets with these little short windows like Damian Lillard and what have you.
Right.
But if you bring in Donovan Mitchell, he's 25.
Right.
And a lot of people say, "Oh, that's the same old Knicks. They swinging for the fence." That's still a young guy. Brandon Ingram is not available. But I mean, a player like that, they've been in the league 2, 3, 4, 5 years. They've produced season in and season out. I'm okay. That's where I would want the Knicks to do. However, those players
Might even be
they
available.
may not be available.
Yeah.
And if they're not available and you can improve your team responsibly, I agree. Just rock with what you have with what you have right now. What I think the front office will do, I think the front office is going to try to improve this team to make the playoffs next year. Leon Rose said he was disappointed in this season. He thought they would take the next step. They didn't. Kemba and Fournier didn't work out in the sense that we didn't go to the playoffs. Okay, we got to scrap that. What's next? That's what I think the front office is going to do. Remember, they were at the Dallas game.
Right.
That wasn't no personal trip. That
Facts.
was a business trip.
Yeah, it was
Hmm.
weird.
That's what
That's
made me
weird.
think that okay, they might not, but that's the direction. They may not be able to get it done, but that's the direction in which they're thinking. So the reason I wanted to ask this question first is because when we talk about what to do with Grimes and Fournier and Reddish, because that position is crowded,
Yep.
it's going to depend on what you're prioritizing,
Hmm.
Mm.
right? It's going to depend on what you're prioritizing. Salute to Sim, nothing but Knicks in the building. Appreciate you and all your support. And like I've said before, this is not even possible without you giving me that opportunity. So I
Word.
appreciate
Salute,
you
son.
and thanks for dropping by. And if you want the link, I can drop. Oh, I know you have a show. He has a show going on too. He has the front stoop. So they're gonna be talking about Mike
Oh.
Tyson and that incident
Wow.
and things like that. Um, so Jarrell, to your point, and then I'll get to you, Divine. To
Mm.
your point, if we bring in a point guard, no, we're not talking point guards, but if we
Hmm.
do bring in a point guard and we keep Derrick Rose, now IQ goes to the two position, like you
Hmm.
said, and now the guard, the 2-3
It's crazy.
position is even more crowded. Because remember, RJ has his spot. So we're only talking about three spots, right?
Hmm.
Another starting wing, and then the two people um, in the backup. So Divine, who are you starting next to RJ, and who are the two starters in that second unit? I don't think Tibbs is going more than 10
Mhm.
in
I
his
Hmm.
would,
rotation.
yeah. For me personally, my preference would be Quentin Grimes at the two, just because of his defense capabilities. He's a two-way player. I mean, I think to me, I think Quentin Grimes almost make Evan Fournier expendable. I just think
Mm.
that for $2 million, he can knock down a three ball, and his defense is way above his. So obviously, I don't think if the Knicks. I think the Knicks got to move one of them, Julius Randle or Evan Fournier. One of them dudes got to get moved because I think if you don't, then what happens? I think Obi Toppin going to be looking for 30 minutes next year. And where you going to play him at? I can't see him playing behind Julius Randle next year. If his maturation continue the way him quickly did this year, so I do think I would love to put Quentin Grimes in the starting lineup just because of his defense prowess. I mean, in Evan Fournier, he's a great 3-point shooter. He's one dimensional, but he's a turnstile. And
Hmm.
I just think that as I watched all the games this year, not only Evan Fournier, I mean, Kemba Walker, these guys, it put a lot of pressure on Mitchell Robinson and had to come up and defend all the time because they're getting burnt all the time. So
Mhm.
Mitchell Robinson got to come up and leave a man wide open. So I just think that if Evan Fournier, if you're going to keep him, I believe you should get to put him on the two on the bench and let Quentin Grimes hold down that two guard spot in New York. And I think the team will be a way better team because I think his
Mhm.
defense is that elite. And I think his 3-point shooting is that good. So I would love to see that because much good as Evan Fournier is with the three ball, but that's pretty much what you get from him. It's just a three ball, And
Right.
me, when it comes to the dollars, I'm not paying nobody $18 million to shoot a three ball, So that's why I said
Right.
that have to go for me.
I mean, what I will say to piggyback off of you, I think Fournier can do more, but in this particular offense, for whatever reason, he didn't. Like he can put the
Mm-mm.
ball on the floor. He
Yeah, you
can
can.
hit off the dribble. I've seen him do it, but perhaps in this offense where you got RJ who's dominating the ball, you got Randall who's dominating the ball, Tibbs just felt I can't put the ball in Fournier's hand as well. And
Hmm.
so his role, to your point, was just relegated to shooting the three, but he can do more. And a lot of
Absolutely.
fans have complained that Tibbs' offense is just not dynamic enough to take advantage of
Right.
people's skill sets, including Fournier. But
Right.
Jarrell, I know you said you would start Cam. What about that second unit?
The second unit, I would like Fournier and Burks. But see, like you said, it's a long jam, and I don't know. Like I really don't think that Cam is going to start. That's just wishful thinking. But do I think they put? I think Evan Fournier is going to start next year. I don't even think Tibbs is going to put Grimes ahead of him next year. Like I don't think Tibbs has seen enough. Probably. You know how he is. Like even though Grimes got a lot of minutes since he got hurt, like Tibbs got to get Tibbs trust all over again. And he probably be in the summer league. He's going to have to prove it there. But I if he did start over Fournier, I'd actually be happy. Even though I wanted RJ and Cam, I would like Quentin Grimes and RJ also. But to me, I would really like RJ to go back to the two. Like even if we had to find a three, I want him to go back to the two. I think that's his natural position, and he'll do better at that position defensively also. When it comes to the bench, I don't know. It's all on Tibbs. Like Tibbs is weird. He contradicts himself all the time. So I have no idea what he's gonna do.
Oh, I have no idea what he's going to do too. RJ is 6'7" now. He's
Hmm.
not 6'6". He's 6'7"
He
now.
grew an inch. Yep.
Yeah, I think he could play the three position. I mean, for the two, he just doesn't shoot well.
Yeah, I can't argue that.
He just
Can't
doesn't
argue that at all.
shoot well. And so I see him more, as a three. If you get an opportunity in the chat, you get an opportunity. I dropped a video today where I did my season review of the starters. And RJ, I looked at his stats on cleaning the glass in terms of his finishing at the rim, his mid-range shot, and his three-point shot. His percentile compared to the wings in this league is very low.
Very low at the bottom.
Is very low. He's not a good shooter at all. What I like about RJ is his mentality, his leadership, his aggression, and that 46 points against Miami was impressive to me. And hitting those shots in the clutch against the Lakers in LA to push us into overtime was impressive. So you can kind of see flashes of what he could be, but he has to get that shooting together if he's going to be a shooting guard or even an adequate wing. No,
Right. Because he's so young, but he's still RJ is this young and he still takes advantage of how strong he is.
he does.
I actually like that. So I don't know, like you said, it's about work ethic and what he's going to do in the future. I think he'll get there.
He has that. He has that.
He definitely has that. But to Divine's point about Grimes, I really like Grimes.
Yep, me too.
I really like him. And I think, see, with Grimes, you know what you're going to get game in and game out. He's a high floor guy. I don't know how high his ceiling is, but his floor is pretty high. You know what you're going to get. Even with IQ can be up and down. They're young. You expect that. Even with Obi can be up and down. He doesn't get a lot of minutes. You expect that. But Grimes in his little minutes, he just seems more steady. And so, yeah, he just seems more steady. So if, say, the Knicks don't make a lot of changes and you bring him back Randall, you put Grimes in that lineup, the scoring is coming from RJ. The scoring is coming from Randall. Hopefully his head is right. That's a whole other story. We're going to do that power forward position as well. I like to have you guys back for that. You put Grimes where his only responsibility is to space the floor, hit the three, and play good defense.
Yep.
Even if Fournier is back, I still think we're a better team if you bring Fournier off the bench and start Grimes. If you're not able to move him, I just think it's a better move for the team. Even though people can argue he's not better than Fournier, blah 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 blah. That's fine. But for our team, I think he would be. And he in that limited role, he can start on the playoff team.
Yeah. Yeah. What I like about him, Steph, for me, is that he don't necessarily need the ball in his hand like Fournier.
Correct.
So he's not taking shots away from RJ and Randall or whoever the point guard may be, because he's more like a 3-and-D type dude to me. But I really believe that Quentin Grimes will win a 3-point contest in the NBA All-Star. I think the kid's shot. I think that kid's shot is that good. I like the dog in him. He gets down. He be up on the defenders. He don't play 2 feet off him so they can raise up all the time. I just think that, the way our defense, we got better later on in the year. But I think if he was in that starting lineup, Dean some of them more faster wings, more explosive high T. Fournier, don't get me wrong, it's a 10-year vet, but his athleticism is at the bottom of the barrel. So we got a lot of wings in the league, like the Jalen Greens of the world and all these guys who just athletic, fast, quick, who gets around these guys. I think Quentin Grimes will keep the Knicks defense. Let's say if Mitch was back. Him, Mitch, and RJ probably would be our best defenders in the start, and I think we need that because if our offense ain't knowing, then we're gonna be wound up giving up 30-point quarters again. So I think he can help that from that. I like him though. I really think he's gonna be impressive, man. I really like Quentin Grimes.
I really do. And you know what? Our defense, we wound up being, I want to say 11, 12, 13, 14, something like that in defensive rating, which was surprising. So just imagine. So it just goes to show that you can hide one bad defender. It's hard to hide two, but it'll be even better if you put Grimes in. And again, we're not talking about Randall, today, but if he can get back to the defense of last year, if we're not able to move on from him, that makes us
Right.
even a better defensive team. Talk to me a little bit about Reddish. What do you like about him? What do you see from him, and where do you think he fits um, next season? And do you think he can beat out Burks? Say they don't trade Burks, because for me, I feel like you should be you if you're beat the person out that's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if Reddish is who we think he is, I think he could beat Burks out in a training camp. But anyway, your thoughts, Jarrell. I'll start with you, and then Divine. Your thoughts on Reddish? I know you said you've been following him since junior high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really high on Cam. I already said that. So, the sky's the limit for him. To me, it's all about him and his work ethic going forward. Do I think he could beat out Burks with, yeah, when you talk about talent, but we have Tibbs as our coach, so that's kind of a loaded question, too. Do I think he is going to beat him out? No. Can he? Yes. Mainly because he's long and he actually plays defense. And he's one of the few people on this team that can actually create his own shot.
Hmm.
Like the bad thing with Tibbs when he first got here, he just stuck him in the corner. Everybody says about Tibbs when, as soon as you start getting minutes, you're just stuck on the corner. So you can't play Cam like that in order for him to be effective. He has to have the ball in his hand also, for the most part. If you're going to use him as a catch and shoot, he's basically you're basically treating him like a 3 and D player too, but he's more talented than that. He actually has handle, and he has a mid range, and he can get to the basket almost any time he wants to because of his size. So that's Cam. I love Cam. It's all up to him. Let's just say that.
Right. Let me ask you a question before I get to Divine.
Sure.
What do you think Atlanta's decision was, or what went into their? I mean, you have to guess. I mean, we won't
Mm-hmm.
know in terms of why they chose DeAndre Hunter over Cam. Now, Tony Crow, my co-host on the crossover, said
Mm-hmm.
because DeAndre Hunter had the higher floor,
Mm-hmm.
and he plays good defense, and he was a better fit for Atlanta. What do you
Yes,
think?
I agree with that. When it comes to Cam, when I say it's all up to him, it's all up here. Like Cam's problem is like the work ethic stuff, the playing hard all the time. Every time he gets on the floor, you know exactly what he's going to get. A lot of times he's inconsistent when it comes to that. It's a mental thing. It's not. It has nothing in terms of talent.
Hmm.
Is the reason I think they traded him. They chose DeAndre Hunter because he might be a better basketball player. He's just not a more talented basketball player than Cam is right now.
Okay. Okay. All right. Divine, anything you want to add on
Yeah, yeah.
Reddish and where you think he fits?
I think Reddish is a real talented ball player. I mean, the kid versatile, 6'8", and he
Mm-hmm.
plays his shoulders make him look bigger than 6'8". The kid, I think he's versatile. He shoots the ball better than RJ. Because remember, he came out of college with better shooter than RJ. RJ wasn't a
Yep.
good shooter at all coming out of college. That's why I don't get too worried. I'm not too when people say RJ can't shoot. Well, we knew that coming out of college. You know what I mean? He wasn't. That ain't
We
nothing.
thought it would get better
I'm about to
though.
say he
I,
never
I,
could shoot.
it got better last year. The man shot 39% from three last year. I mean, the whole league was down this year shooting wise, but RJ shot 39% from the 3-point line last year.
Mhm.
But a lot of these guys' numbers, RJ, Randall, all of them down this year. Nobody on the Knicks team, I think, shot over 40% other than Mitchell Robinson and Obi Toppin and the centers. But everybody else was around 40% from just the 2-point area. You know what I mean? So I think I don't know how they even do with the basketball per se, but to get back to the Cam Reddish thing, I think Atlanta did this here because they knew they weren't going to be able to extend them because they got too many contracts out there. Trey Young, all these guys. So hey, we take Kevin Knox and Spiderman in the first round pick. We're not going to be able to extend Cam Reddish regardless.
Right.
I just don't think they had the money to do that. So they say, we know what, just let him go. But I do think that I like Cam Reddish. I like the when he was in college. I think that sometimes you can't take a small sample size and justify a man's career. Put it like that. He haven't had enough sample size in New York to even remotely think that would. But I think he's special. I think the young man got talent. He's not scared of nothing, and I think I like his size. We don't have a lot of size in New York. I mean, and I like Cam Reddish, man. And I'm hoping that he in a contract year. I think he's gonna come out and smash it. I think Cam Reddish know he's gonna get an opportunity fresh in summer. I mean, in the training camp,
Right.
to go out there and steal that position from somebody. And I think they better watch out because I think guys like Cam Reddish gonna be hungry in training camp. He's gonna go in there. And now, he couldn't do it when he got here because, only a game, few here and there, and it was too early. But now that he's going into training camp, I think Cam Reddish is going to let the Knicks know that, listen, I'm coming here to take somebody's job. And I hope that's his mentality. That's what it should be. And I think he can. That's the reason why I said Evan Fournier and the Burks and them guys, you got to move one of them guys, man, because you got some good young talent down there. Energy, hungry. I mean, I vets, they're not hungry enough to me because that's why we get caught up in these guys just hungry, Listen.
Right.
I'm trying to pay for an NBA contract. I'm trying to get extended. So I'm going to go out there and put my best foot forward, put 104. That's why quickly and over, you see what they're doing because they're hungry. Our veterans got their money. They're not hungry enough. I think Cam Reddish is going to be the hungriest player in New York this summer. And I think he's going to wind up coming in there and saying, listen, I'm coming here to take somebody's job. And hopefully that's what he do because I like him. I really do.
Yeah. I like his talent. I like his size and I like his talent. But what you're going to do with it? And I think that's the key, the key to it. And I think where there's some difference of opinion in the fan base is, I like to call it clear the runway. Do you clear the runway first, then put people out there that may or may not be ready just to see? Or do you see them in small increments, and then you say to yourself, I think this guy is ready now. I think this guy's ready. I think we need to move so-and-so so he can have his opportunity. The latter is how I like to operate. Like, I don't like to just clear space just to see what a person can do. I like to see, and even if it's in there, if it's in practice, if it's in the small minutes that they get, whatever, you say, well, you know what? In the time that they get, I think they're ready. I think we need to either move this guy to the bench, make him situational, as Tibbs would say, or ship him out because this guy is ready to get time. I don't know. We haven't seen enough of Cam. At least I haven't to even have that type of impression of him. However, like you said, Devon, training camp, that's his opportunity. You can win Tibbs over in training camp. I saw IQ do it. Grimes did it in practice, not in training camp. He did it. So it's possible. But like you're saying, Jarrell, if it's a work ethic issue, if it's a energy motor issue, it's not going to work with Tibbs. I could tell you that right now because that was the issue with Knox.
Exactly.
That was the issue with Knox.
That's why, unfortunately, I don't think, as much as I want it to work, I don't know if Cam is going to work with the Knicks long term, especially since he's in a contract year now. Like him and RJ come up at the same time; they were in the same draft. So I don't know. I got a feeling that he's going to be like, say, if we do make a trade, Cam might be in it because he will be a hot commodity because he's so talented.
They had him in one.
Right. They had him in one and pulled it. Yeah.
Him and Burks.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I was thinking. Because I'm like, they signed DeAndre Jordan. They came in the same year. They signed DeAndre Jordan to his extension already, or they're gonna do that now?
Oh, Hunter.
I'm sorry.
Hunter. Yeah.
Hunter.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
They signed him already to the extension?
I actually don't know. I will have to look that up. I don't know.
I don't recall hearing about it out there.
Yeah, so I think that was just on my mind. I was like, this guy has a lot of talent. He has he's big, he has wingspan, he has height, he has a high ceiling.
Right.
Why wouldn't you pair him with Trae Young? Right? I think he has a higher ceiling than Hunter, in my opinion.
I think so too.
Wait, who's the other Herder too? They have
Say that again.
Herder too.
And Herder as well.
Herder plays the 2 because Cam can play the 2 or the 3. He can play either one. He can play the 4 too.
And that's another reason why I think Steph, why they let him go, because they signed him. They had Bogdanovich under contract. They get Herder extension.
They had a log jam too.
They had a log jam there, man. But you know what? What I like about Cam Reddish, and because he is a wing. But I did some analysis the other day. I said if you had Emmanuel Quickly, R.J. Barrett, Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin, and Mitchell Robinson, you know that starting lineup salary is only $35 million.
That is my
$35
five.
million.
That is my favorite starting five, but I just know it's not going to happen.
Right. I was like,
Say that again. What was the starting five?
if you had Emmanuel Quickly, right now, I'm talking about after next year's salary, Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin, and Mitchell Robinson. Even if you gave Mitchell Robinson $15 million, that whole starting lineup salary is only $35 million.
Until RJ is extended.
And until his extension, correct.
Well, yeah. Well, Cam has to be extended too.
He got to be extended too, but at least for that 1 year next year, that's why I think some of these guys like Fournier and them, you got to move these guys, man. Because I really believe that young energy, they all can score, they all play defense, they all can shoot pretty decent, they all athletic. I mean, it'll be a crazy lineup with Quickly and RJ and Cam, and that's why I'm hoping Cam coming to the summer and pop. I think he's gonna cause the Knicks to have a dilemma there with Evan Fournier and them, because that young man got the size. He got what we need in New York. Right. I love to see that young energy. You put in some veterans. Yeah. It'll be interesting.
I call that my 2K lineup, my NBA 2K lineup. Like, what I can do. Yeah, that would be my five, but I just know it's not going to happen.
Right.
We're not going to win games like that either.
We're not going to win games like that either. I mean, I think that's good. That lineup is good. Like I said, this is where the Knicks have to pick the direction. If you letting these guys marinate and you're not worrying about the playoffs, you just want them to get better, start those guys. Anything can happen. Like, they can pop, like anything can happen. But you're not going into the season saying we making the playoffs with this team, even though anything is possible, right?
Yeah, right. I'd be a fool. Yeah, I'd be lying if I said we would definitely make the playoffs with that lineup. I don't think so.
No, but if
it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
Look at the teams that's in the play-in now. Like you think, listen, there's a difference, and this is no disrespect to Obi. If you got a strong point guard, shooting guard, center, small forward, and you put in Obi at the 4, that's good. He can start. It's not a lot of pressure on him. You're just asking him to do what you do to help support this team. You understand? If the lineup is not strong and you're counting on Obi Toppin, that's a tough spot, to put somebody in against starters, game in and game out. We're counting on you to produce.
Sure.
He's going to take his lumps.
Yeah. I think that's what it's about too. I think it's what it's about. I mean, because you got to throw in the fire, but I do think he caused a disadvantage to a lot of forwards in the game too, because of his speed, his versatility. They can't keep up with him up and down the floor. I think Obi Toppin could cause a matchup problem for a lot of people, because a lot of guys in the league 6'10", 6'11" can't run up and down the floor with Obi Toppin. So, I mean, he might be a disadvantage on one end, but he also is an advantage on the other end, because a lot of these guys can't keep up with him and Emmanuel Quickly like that. And that's why I'm interested to see it, because I think with a point guard, if the Knicks had a real point guard, we might be talking about a whole different thing with Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson might be 17-5. We don't got nobody who gets these guys balls, put them in the spots where they need to get put in at, let them know to put them. And I just think that's what it is. But I think our talent is being hindered by not having a point guard for the last 10 years. Who knows? But I would love to see it, because I think it would be interesting. I hope they.
I think it would be interesting.
Yeah,
I think it would be interesting.
I mean, that's 100.
Go ahead,
Jerome. I think that's spot on. The only thing we wouldn't talk about point guards, because really, like the show that you had last week about the point guards, that was the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, because point guard is by far the most important position that we need to look at. Like with the wings, we're basically just talking about a log jam, and talk about people we don't like when it comes to like Fournier and Burks. Like, most of the people that I talk to is definitely just gonna either have them off the bench or just trade them. Even though I do actually like Fournier though. I don't think he's that bad.
I don't have a problem with.
I don't have a problem with him at all. Like, I just don't think he's just not a very good defender, but in terms of offense, if you use him properly, I think he'll be fine. He's a fine 2-guard in the league.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Fournier. I think he did what they brought him in to do, which is stretch the floor. Now, he didn't do it at an efficient level. I mean, he did not shoot very well this year either. I think he shot like 39% or something like that overall. I think he shot better No, he
40,
shot okay from
41%.
3-point line, 38 or something like that.
Mm.
So they brought him in to spread the floor. You have to, when he's in the game, you got to pay attention to him. That does open up a little more room for RJ and and Randall. Um, I'm okay if he comes off the bench. I'm okay if they trade him, but I wasn't that down on him this season. I don't think they used him as well as they could have.
Right.
Basically, defensively, he was a mess. But we talk about RJ, who's I guess we can talk about him because he's one of the wing players.
Yeah.
RJ's not a great defender either. I
No.
mean, I like the fact that he will take on the top defenders.
Mhm.
Whoever that best defender is, I mean, best, excuse me, offensive player, he's up for the challenge. But when you look at his defensive stats, they're not great either.
Mhm.
You know,
That's
so I
right.
think defensively we have to get better all around.
Yeah,
I
you
agree.
know what's tough for me with that is, the interesting thing, Fournier 30, RJ 21. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
RJ is going to be I don't have no question in my mind RJ is going to be special. Because you think about this here. If RJ was to hit three throws a game, he'd be at 23 points a game this year. Just hit three more. Once RJ get that field goal, that 3-point percentage up next, if he get it up in the high 70s, he averaged 20 points a game this year. Efficiency it was bad. But you know what? He does something that even Julius Randle them don't do. He be 3-shot ball not falling. He goes downhill to get a bucket. Everybody else is standing around chucking up threes. The defense set for Evan Fournier, set for Julius Randle because they know all they're gonna do is chuck threes. I mean, but RJ on at least 4, 7, 8 times a game, he going downhill to try to get contact. I think that kid is gonna be fine by me. Like I said, from 14 to 17 to 20. Next year he probably go 23 points a game. Basic line all-star. I think RJ Barrett got a work ethic like nobody on that team other than Julius Randle. And I think he's going to bounce back next year and have a good year for the Knicks. He's going to be in the contract year, just like Julius Randle was in the contract year. He's going to be in the contract year. He's going to go out there and light it up because he's going to want to get his bag. But I do I hope the Knicks extend RJ Barrett because I know much of the flack he get. Everybody try to compare him to John Moran. He ain't John Moran, but look at RJ the second year helped to get the Knicks to the playoffs. So many cats came in the league, ain't even been to the playoffs yet. At least RJ came in his second year in the league. The Knicks ain't been in the playoffs in 8 years. Him and Julius Randle helped take the Knicks to the playoffs. That got to count for something when you're that young. And I think by the time that boy get 25, he'll be 25.
If he can work on the efficiency,
Yeah,
because
right.
this is the thing. To me, it's not even about how many points you score, because he scored 20 points because he and I'm not down on
Yeah, it's the truth.
RJ. I just like to mention both sides of the coin.
It's facts.
Yeah, because I like two. Well, anyway,
Yo, RJ
so
was missing layups this year,
right,
like open ones.
right. So he averaged 20 points, but he took more shots to do it. So he wasn't very efficient. So in order to get to 20, he had to take more shots. Once this team gets better, he's not going to get those shots. So it's important that his efficiency gets better.
Yep.
And the free throw shooting, you going downhill,
Yeah.
you getting fouled, you going to the line, you got to get those free throws. So I would be okay if he averaged 19 points a game if he was shooting 46%.
Yeah. And I think
If he was shooting 80%, from the line, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think he will. That's the reason why I bring it up, because I think that because of his work ethic, RJ always in the gym. He's one of them guys who don't settle. He not content with where we at with his game. He want to be one of the best. And I do think his work ethic going to allow him to probably go in the gym this year. Say, I got to get better with my shooting. I try to look at what these cats going to be because of who they are as a person. He got a strong work ethic, and I know that cat probably once he get that knee together, he's gonna be in the gym working, trying to get better. That's why I like about him, because he is that type of dude. Him and Randall. One thing I say about Randall, they always in the gym, man. They looking to get better. I think RJ come back with a better percentage next year, because it's about your maturation and your growth, learning as you go. And for somebody to be 21 years old and doing what he's doing and still a baby, he's still a baby. 21. I think he would get better. Now I think the Knicks really know that. I think like Clyde never said, they know the Knicks gonna lock that boy up because he's talented. And one thing, you talent, but you got to work on your talent to get better. But I do think he got the drive to be good. Now he got the drive to be a good ball player. And it's part of his family growing up. His father was a good ball player. He played at St. John's, mother the track star. It's embedded in him to be good. And I think he has that drive to be good. That's why I'm not worried about RJ Barrett. I think he's gonna be fine. I think the young man gonna be. That's why I hope the Knicks, he come in the next year to prove a point. Don't extend him. You ain't got to extend him. wait to see what he's gonna do this year. If you don't want to extend him, that's fine. But I think they're gonna extend him one day.
Right.
I think he's nice like that. I really do.
I think they're gonna extend him. I think if he wants the max, though, I think he's probably gonna have to play out the year so they can see a little bit more.
Right, exactly.
But less than the max, definitely. I think that gets done. It'll get done tomorrow if he wanted it to. He's gonna take less than the max.
Had to pull a Randall out of
Right. And Marvin, thank you for joining us. And I'll get to you. Are you okay with him playing out this season? Like for me, I feel like I just want to see, because 181 is significant. That's $36 million a year.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, and it ties up your cap space if you're not that guy. If you're that guy, I'll pay you 40, because we don't need to go out and get much, because we got it in you. But if you're not, and we tying up that cap space, now we got to go out and get what you're not. We may not have the money to do so. That's my only issue with it. But are you okay, or do you think RJ would be okay playing out this season and not signing the max before October? Because the Knicks, like, in other words, I want the max. If you don't think I'm worth the max, I'm gonna play out this season and I'm gonna show you that I'm the max guy. Or do you think he just takes less and signs it sooner than later? I'm gonna start with Marvin. How are you? Thanks for joining.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
How you doing, brother?
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, man? Salute, Marvin.
Yeah, man. I was just listening to you guys' conversation. Interesting takes you guys have about your team, man. Got some young, good talent. And I had some questions I wanted to ask you guys. What have you heard? Have you guys heard anything about the plans for Fournier and Burks? Are they in the plans of staying, or are you guys going to move them, or what?
No, Leon Rose is our general manager, so he don't tell us nothing. No, we have no idea what we're going to do with them.
Oh, you have no idea. Now, these contracts actually are movable contracts, correct?
Right.
The reason I'm bringing it up is because when you had an RJ Barrett, guys, I believe you have an RJ Barrett and some more of the guys, young guys that are on your squad. Is Fournier a part of the rebuilding process? His contract is kind of large, and would he fit? Would he be a plus on the team going further? You know, it's just questions I have for you guys.
Yeah, that's what we was talking about. You know, what's the direction of the Knicks? I think if they want to get the young guys more time, well, you know what? Let me backtrack. Even if the Knicks want to go to the playoffs next year, you can still get rid of Fournier and still make the playoffs. I just don't think you're going to make the playoffs with 5 young players in the starting lineup. But if you could still make the playoffs getting off of Fournier and starting a Grimes or starting a Cam, depending on, you know, how well they play. So I have no idea what the Knicks are going to do. They were at that Dallas game, so it makes me think that they looking to make some moves. Whether they can or not is a different story.
And the Mitchell Robinson thing, where are you guys at with that?
Well, right now, today, we're trying to keep it on the wings. I'm gonna do a show on the center position. The next show is gonna be on that power forward position. I would love for y'all to come back. But today we have 5 players at that wing position, 6 if we bring in a point guard and keep Derrick Rose. Then IQ becomes somebody that plays off the ball as well. So we were talking about what are we doing with that wing position. In a perfect world,
I'm sorry, the assets that could come back from Fournier and Burke, you got to consider that. What could you bring back in return to better the squad? Because you're not just going to give these guys away. So I think, and then with Obi, I don't know if you've seen, I put it in the chat. You know, he didn't score in double figures in the 10 of the last games that he played. 10 of the last 11 games he played. And I say this to you, Queen. When does these guys earn their wings? Only when they get their feet wet. Yeah, he's going to take his lumps. But is it going to be more lumps than good games? And that's how you build a player, and that's how players get better. They have to get out there and just get after it. And in Obi's case, I know it's been kind of tainted by because a lot of people feeling the end of the season some teams were not playing their top players or whatnot. But one thing about the NBA is every player that's in the NBA is NBA talent, and if he plays and just getting the game time, just getting the minutes can really be a help. I think Obi's going to be real good, and I think he should be a
I
part of
think
the
he's
guys.
going to be real good too. I think for me the issue is just the timeline of it. But I do want to just stick with I do want to stick with the wings.
Okay.
In a perfect world, I would love to start RJ and Cam. In a perfect world, if because of his length,
That was mine.
if
If
he can play.
right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Exactly.
If he can play, that's who I would like. And my second choice, which is I think is probably more probable, would be Grimes and RJ. The only thing about that is that we 6'5" and 6'7"
Mm-hmm.
when you do that.
Yep. Putting Cam on the floor is different. Cam is 6'8" with like a 7'1", 7'2" wingspan. Like it's a lot you can do with Cam, but like you said, and like we said before, it's all about his mentality. That's all. It's not about talent at all with him.
Is that a small red flag for you, Divine, when you hear that?
No, because he's young, and I think he can. I think while you're young, you can always learn while you're young. When now if you was 30, 40 years old doing it, then it's a different story. But he's a young guy,
True.
so he still got a chance to get educated. You know what? And sometimes having certain coaches around you, sometimes it's all about who around you.
Right.
Having guys like Todd Gibson and
That's
Derrick
true.
Rose, these guys are going to bring the best out these dudes, man. And that's why I said I don't underestimate these guys because of who around them, like Johnny Bryan and Tibb. You might not like the way Tibb might do his rotation, but he developed these cats though. You know what I mean? And I do think that being around the right structure of bringing it out of can. Not only that, just hypothetically, now he get to go in the offseason practice with RJ instead of practice with somebody he don't really. I can imagine him and RJ in the gym or something. You know what I mean? I just think that he has it. He has it in him because the man is talented. You can't deny his talent. He's versatile. He can do it. He's a 3-dimensional scorer. He hustles on defense. I think his last 3 or 4 games before he got hurt, you seen him start to get better every game.
Right.
He got hurt on the defensive play.
Yeah, and I do think that and like I said, to me, you got to move Evan Fournier, man. I'm just me, the type of guy that I am. I can't justify $18 million just shooting threes, and occasionally it would be different if he was consistent every year, every game. He'd have 20 points this game. For the next 5 games, he got 4 or 5 points. I don't believe in spending $18 million. Nobody like that. I don't care who you are. Evan Fournier is not consistent enough. He's not a good defender, so I think Cam Reddish would take that job easy because I think Cam Reddish is a better defender there. He can shoot he can shoot the ball. He's multi-dimensional. I like Evan Fournier, but I think you got to move that and let Cam Reddish and Grimes them get in there and do what he do. I think the Knicks would be a better team because they're better defenders. I think Evan Fournier to me is a wrap. So that's just my opinion. I just don't think.
Yeah. We shall see. I don't think 17 million is a lot of money though in this NBA landscape. I don't think 17 million is is a lot of money. Yeah, I mean, we shall see. I mean, like we said, a lot of it depends on the direction the Knicks, want to go in. If the Knicks want to make the playoffs, it's going to be hard to do that with a lot of young players in your lineup, And you can argue that was one of the reasons. If there's multiple reasons the Knicks didn't make the playoffs this year, but another one of them is that you have so many young players on your team and you're counting on them, and you're just not gonna, they just not ready for that. Your guns have to show up if you're trying to make the playoffs, and they didn't. They didn't.
Right.
They lost some quality vets on that one too. Like you said, what? You got to have vets. You got to have vets on the team. But I would like to see Steph real quick. I would like to see the Knicks model. I like to see the Knicks model the Memphis Grizzlies. Like JJ Jackson, John Moran, Dylan Brooks, Brandon Clark. Let them young guys get in there and eat, man. Them young boys are athletic. They all in the same timeline. Like Mitchell Robinson is not a young guy. He's been in the league 4 years. RJ is not that young. And I think that, but they got enough NBA experience. You plug in a couple of other guys with that team, and I think they'd be ready to go, man. That's why Knicks need to follow the Memphis Grizzlies. Follow with them young boys. They gave John Morant the key. They gave them Dylan Brooks, Clark, all these young boys, man, and they just out there bringing it. You know what I mean? I just think we got enough talent like that to do what they did. Maybe in a year or two, we'll be like the Memphis Grizzlies. But I think as long as we got the Fourniers and the Burks of the world, we're gonna hinder these young boys to grow from them. We're gonna be like, same old Knicks. You know, that's what I look at.
I mean, we can get rid of Fournier. Again, I'm okay with that. If we're talking about, that's what I'm saying for the Knicks. Pick a direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just got
pick a direction.
Yep, that's what
I'm okay with that. You know, if you're saying that, forget the playoffs. If you go, you go. You know, but we're gonna prioritize the development of the youth. We're gonna trade Randall because if we're talking about trading Burks and Fournier, that doesn't change whether the Knicks want to go to the playoffs or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
Trading Randall, that's going to be the big key. That's going to let you know that that's what they're choosing to do. Because you can trade Burks and Fournier and still bring back, you know, another player on the wing that can get in the way. You understand what I'm saying? So when you trade and offer them, you got to bring back who you bringing back. No matter who you bring back is going to be in somebody's spot, so to speak, unless you bring them back for draft capital.
Yeah, right. I like Burks though. I wouldn't get rid of Burks.
I want to get rid of Burks just because Tibbs can't
that's
put
a
him at
spot
point
though.
I don't want him at point anymore.
I'm off the bench, but I do think for $10 million spot, what Burks give you, man, for $10 million, I like Burks, man. I think he, you know, so that's what I mean. Even with the young guys, you got veterans like him. The problem with him was he started. I think if he come back off the bench, you get a point guard. And he's like a Benny Johnson out there, man. Come out there and knock down 10, 15 points. I think Burks, to me, that's why I said Burks is better to stay with the Knicks than Fournier. You know what I mean? You got a cheaper contract, multi-dimensional player, better defender. I like Burks. I think Burks can come off the bench for the Knicks, you know. And
he can, but he's going to take a spot.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He's gonna take. If you really want these young guys to play, and you bring back Burks, unless you make him situational, where he's not in the rotation. So, for example, let's just say, for argument's sake, you got Grimes and RJ in the first unit.
Mm-hmm.
Then in that second unit, you got IQ at the 1. You got Reddish. You got Reddish there. What's his name is coming back?
Fournier.
No, not Fournier. Derrick Rose. So you got Derrick Rose, IQ, Reddish. Where are you playing Burks?
I mean, I think you could put Reddish. I think you could back up Reddish at the 4. I mean, like I said, with his 6'8" wingspan, I think you could throw Burks in there at the 3. You know, put him back to where he was at. Throw him at the 3. Even if you got, I think somebody going to have. You know what it is? I don't think half of them. Some of the guys are not going to be here anyway. I mean, you know, we don't know. I just think that the Knicks going to make some moves. I don't think this team going to be the way it is. I don't believe that. So I do think some of these guys might not be here. And Burks was about to get traded anyway, but I do like his game. Whether he's here or not, I like his game. But I don't know. He might not be here though. They might ship him out as well. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
I had a question, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know what you guys were thinking about your returns in Randall. Where is this? What position? And you should get a top return for Randall, guys. So the reason I'm asking,
the power forward show.
Yeah. Well, okay, no. The reason I'm saying this because this will determine which of your wings that you keep. I really believe that because your return from Randall is really relevant to who you're going to keep with your wings because you want them to miss for one. And then you want to make sure that, you know, that everything is clear. So I really want to go back to your point, Queen, meaning what they're going to do with Randall. I'm not trying to get off the show. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's going to be critical of what happens there on what's going to happen over here. So, you know, that's the reason I asked.
And you know what? That's a good point because if you bring back a young player, you crowding it up again. If you bring back a point guard, you crowding up the spot with IQ. If you bring back a wing player, you crowding up compounding the problem we have. If you bring back a power forward, because you're not going to trade Randall and bring back trash. I hope not.
Oh, not at all.
No, he's going to bring back.
I'm hoping you bring back at least a starter level player. So that just creates,
Yeah, more log jam.
Well, okay, is it law, guys, or can this make the team so much better?
depending on who they bring
Yeah,
back.
it depends on who you bring
That's
in.
right.
Yeah, because to
Right.
me, the best players play.
Right.
The best players play. If they bring back
Guys,
somebody and
I
that
gotta
person is,
go. I'm
yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
I gotta go, Queen, guys. I appreciate you letting me come on, and I will be
Yeah.
looking out for you guys and coming back and get with you, Queen.
Can you email me, please? Because I was trying to
Yeah,
contact you
I
for
did
the.
already.
You did already. Okay, I appreciate you.
Yeah, I did.
I appreciate
Salute,
you.
Michael.
Appreciate it,
Salute,
guys.
salute.
Salute.
I'll be
All right.
good,
Take
brother. Be
care,
safe.
guys.
I mean, we never thought about that. Even if you trade Burks and Fournier, unless you're trading them for draft capital,
Right.
it's still going to create
Still gonna
issues.
create. I was hoping they did a 3-for-1. Like, you know what I mean? Try to move 3-for-1 up. That way you're freeing up some, like you can like to me, the Randall, hypothetically, not saying well, Randall, let's say Randall, Noel, and Kemba Walker can bring you one player.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Now you're getting rid of 3 players, but you're only bringing in 1. Now you freed up 2 roster spots. You know what I mean? So the Knicks got a lot of stuff to deal with, man. Because if we go young, that's fine. Like that's why I say either way it go, I think we could be good. Either way it go, if we go young, I think we'd be all right. And I do think if we go the other way, we still can be all right. But I think they're in a good spot, though. I just hope they just make the right move. But I think they're in a good spot, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. that's the thing. I mean, I think they thought they made the right moves when they brought in Kemba and Fournier, that was gonna we needed offense, that was gonna help the team take the next step.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work. And that happens sometimes with front offices. Boston brought in Kyrie, it didn't work. Boston brought in Kemba, it didn't work. So it does happen at times you bring in, a player, and for whatever reason it just doesn't work.
I don't even think that's why it
They
didn't work,
the
though.
Lakers brought in a lot of them this year.
I don't even think like
they bought about 7 of them. It didn't work. So
right, that's true.
It does happen.
When it comes to Kemba and Fournier, I don't even think that's like the team losing. I don't even think it's their fault. Like they couldn't predict what Randall was going through this year.
Yeah.
Couldn't predict that at all. He was our All-Star last year. So he went from that to what he was this year.
Right.
So you can't predict that at all. Like we had no choice but to be a losing team the way Randall acted.
Right. But do you think it was just him or was multiple factors?
Oh yeah, it was multiple factors. So like I could, this isn't a blame Tibbs show, so that's the only reason I don't want to really get into it, or I can, but yeah, it was mostly because Randall, Tibbs, front office stuff here and there. But when it came to like the Kemba and Fournier, I don't blame them at all for us not doing well this season. Like it was other major factors because of that.
I'll say 10 of them were the free throws. I mean, we lost 10 games shooting 50%.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Free throw line. I'm like, we would have been in the playing where we would have shot free throws at 70% in 10 of the games. I'm like,
that's true.
Right. A lot of things went into it, man. I think the Derrick Rose was a big loss. I think Nerlens Noel only playing 20 games was a big loss. That took away from, Mitchell Robinson wasn't fully healthy. He wasn't ready. And you had to throw him in the thrust of all this because he wasn't ready coming off a 9-month hiatus. But I think Noel and Derrick Rose hurt that team back because you took Alex Burks and put him in a spot where he wasn't comfortable at.
Right.
It was just tough. Then you put Jericho Sims when he wasn't ready. So it was a tough year.
And we didn't shoot well. This is a shot-making league. Absolutely. It's like 4, 5, 6 players on this team shooting 39, 40, 41%. You're just not going to win that way.
Not going to win.
You're not going to win that way. Yeah, that's why it's important, for this efficiency to get better. You ain't got to shoot 60%. You ain't got to shoot 50%. 45, 46%.
Right. Hopefully RJ would do better when it comes to that. Like the question that you asked Marvin before he went off into talk about Mitch's stuff, you asked about RJ's mentality this year or next year if he doesn't get extended. I actually think RJ has the mentality that if he's not going to get the max, he's going to want to earn it, or he's going to want to show us that he is worth every penny. So I think that's what he is going to do. I don't think he's going to sign anything less than the max this year.
You don't?
No.
I hope he does. That'll help us out.
Well, yes, I
understand if he don't.
Right. As for Knicks fans, we should not want him to want the max. I think he is going to want it though. You got to think
But
about
do
where
you
he comes
think
from and his work ethic. Like he's going to think that he's going to be worth that.
Yeah,
he comes across as level-headed to me? Like I would think that he knows
Not
he
about his
wants the
money.
max, but that he's not a max player.
I don't know. You got to think about it. The way Julius Randle acted, and they basically giving RJ the keys for the last quarter of the season. He's going to want the max. I'm not saying we should give it to him,
Right.
but as a player and the agent for that player, I would tell RJ that yeah, we want the max from his perspective, not ours.
All right.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. But I think for me, I think it's not only about the play on the court though. I mean, when you give somebody money, you give an RJ, and you representing the whole.
That's true.
Guys, on the court, off the court,
Right.
community, everything goes into that equation. Not maybe just a number. That's a major part of it. But I do think he could be the face of the Knicks franchise. I don't think there's too many players on the Knicks right now, other than him, that could be the face of this thing. Whereas
Right.
when you go out there and put on a Knicks jersey, the Knicks organization proud to have him represent them.
Right.
I think
He already had a commercial of him being Batman.
And I think he's gonna get better now. Like I said, he just barely could buy beer.
Right, exactly.
So can you imagine when this young man, if he keeps on his trajectory the way he is, when he in 4 more years from now he be 25, RJ gonna be a problem because he got the game to play in the NBA. Like Steph said, if RJ officially get better, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Yeah.
For real.
It is a wrap. Before we get out of here, I want to talk a little bit about IQ if he has to play that two position. So if we do bring in a point and he has to play the two, or are you okay with moving off of Derrick Rose so that he can get that opportunity at the one, either starting or at the backup if they decide to bring in a one?
Devon, you want to go?
Oh, no, go ahead, brother. I just got finished talking.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do I think they're going to get rid of Derrick Rose? No. Would I like to? I wouldn't mind, but I actually think we do need we need some vets on the team. It's not going to just be all young guys. So Derrick Rose is a good leader, but I wouldn't say that he's a vocal one. So
I
hopefully,
think that somebody's stuff is on in the background. Appreciate you, brother.
cool. I still hear no, we good. Yeah, I do hear echo still.
Yeah, so somebody got the YouTube on or something because it's an echo.
Yeah, somebody got their YouTube on, maybe in another browser or something. I do that sometimes.
I do it all the time. I actually thought it was me, but I was like, nah, it's not me.
Go ahead, Terrell. Sorry about that.
All right, so yeah, I actually think they're gonna keep Derrick Rose. Like, I don't know if he's the type of leader that we need because he's not really a vocal one. But since he's already been here for 2 years now, Quick is comfortable with him. Tibbs is still our coach. We're not going to get rid of Derrick Rose. I don't think he's going anywhere.
I mean,
I would like him to, but I mean, we gotta be realistic about what we think is going to happen next year. Like, Tibbs not getting rid of Derrick Rose. Like, no. We already want him to start Deuce. He's not getting rid of Derrick Rose. Like, I don't think Tibbs changes.
do you think he would be situational, or do you think he would get time if he's healthy?
If he's healthy, Derrick Rose might mess around and start if we don't get a if we don't get one in free agency, or we don't make a trade. Derrick Rose is going to be our starting point guard next year.
Wow.
Because what are the alternatives? Like, he
I would
was starting
start
Burks over IQ, and I don't see that. I don't see it changing
right.
because of who he is. That's all. It's just the type of coach he is.
Right. Devon, and then I'll get the shot power.
Yeah, for me, I would like to see him move on from Rose just to let him go chance to go to a contender and free up that spot and maybe bring somebody in. But because like I said, I'm kind of sold on the youth. To me personally, give IQ the keys. Give him the keys. Just let him have the keys. I think it's IQ's job to lose in the off season in the training camp. I think IQ comes into New York this year as a top point guard on the Knicks right now, unless you bring in somebody.
I hope.
So I do think, I mean, listen, I think IQ game is another young man who's in the gym all the time and getting better. Where he averaged 11 points a game this year, better efficiency than a lot of them guys. He had the same numbers as Evan Fournier with 8, 9 less minutes. I think we got to give these young guys a chance to get in there. I like him, and I think Obi at the 4 and him. That's now I'm talking about this. I'm talking about the comparison. What I mean by that is John Stockton, Karl Malone, the combination, not the talent, but what they mean to each other. You know what I mean? Obi Toppin's game is live with a man who quickly because they know each other. He know his tendencies are. He know where he at. So I think you let go into the all season me, let a man who quickly be the one, and then or whoever could beat him out. Put it like that. It's open competition for everybody. But I like Emmanuel quickly. I think he's starting to get better and better. Coming in his second year, he had a decent year at the end of this year. You know, he started out in a slump, but I like what I seen from him. I really do. I think you know he got that it to me, and I think he's gonna be all right. So I'm with Emmanuel Quinn starting in New York next year if we don't go out there and get a major dude, you know. But
Right.
yeah,
I hope.
And before I get to Shot Powers, only thing out there's still an echo though. The only
Is that me?
I think so.
yeah.
Do,
yeah,
are
so
you,
like that till you came in. So.
do you have the YouTube on on another browser or on a speaker?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was him.
The only thing I say about that, Devon, the only reason we disagree is just the timing. I've said it. You know, I think IQ can be a starting point guard in this league. When everybody was saying he's not a point guard, and I said, listen, he's too young for you to say what he can't be. I
True.
think as time goes on, he can be a starting point guard in this league. I just think that if the Knicks are trying to go to the playoffs, I don't think IQ is that guy. And this is why I say that. To me, IQ is a shoot first point guard, and his shooting opens up the passing lane for others. He plays with that freedom. There's times where he's going to come down and he's going to jack up shots. He feels he's hot. When you're in that starting lineup, especially if you win it with RJ and Randall, those guys got to eat first. So I think it changes his game. Now, basically, he's relegated to bringing the ball up, organizing the offense, feeding those guys. Then when it comes back to you, that's when you can take your shots. He can do it, but I don't know if that's quickly at his best. To me, quickly at his best is when he's that number one option. He's running the entire show. He's deciding whether I'm going to shoot, who's going to get the shots. And you see the difference. When he's rocking in that second unit, he's running the entire show. He's not deferring to anybody. He's making the decisions.
Right.
I just think when you put him in that starting lineup, if you keep Randall, I just think it's not going to be enough room for him to do what he do. Now, if you move on from Randall, and like Devon said, now you put in Obi there, that's a different story, and you're gonna let them marinate for a few years, like you said, in terms of Memphis, and just see them grow over time. That's a totally different story. But when you put IQ in that starting lineup, to me, you signifying that we just gonna let y'all rock and just grow. You're not putting him in the starting lineup with Randall. I just think it's a waste.
Let me ask you a question, because you know I can understand that when you predicate that on a half court game, but that the reason why I do want to start IQ, because the Knicks is always last in pace. We just terrible pace team. And that's the problem, because everything we do is just come down court, set up in the half court. At least when you got Emmanuel quickly, he pushes the ball up the floor. I think we need a point guard like him, just from my perspective. Not saying, that we are last in pace in the NBA. One thing about Emmanuel Quickly can snatch a rebound, he out. And his minutes, I think all his points don't necessarily got to be predicated on the half court situation. And that's the reason I like him opposed to the Alex Burkses and a lot of these guys. They didn't get up the floor and get easy buckets. And that's why I like him at Obi Toppin, because they get to an easy 8 to 10 points a game just off the easy buckets. You know what I mean? I like him being able to push the pace. His defense is pretty much average and getting better, actually, as we see it. He got a float game. And I do understand when he the score first, but I think that we're in a league like that now. It's not too many Chris Pauls left, the Trey Youngs of the world. All these guys is like that. That's what they do. I think it's going to be on Tibb to make sure that he run enough plays to make sure that all of them get their equal opportunity. You know, because sometimes it might come down to the coaching. Are you setting up the right plays? Randall getting 6 plays a game, is Barrett getting 7 plays, whatever. You know what I mean? So I think he can work just due to the fact because of his pace, man. I think Amanda quickly, you know, he keeps the ball dribbling. He don't, you know, we don't have no point guard in New York who can do what IQ do. One thing about IQ, he run down in the lane, ain't got a shot. He'll back the ball back out, set the offense up again, and try to do it again. We haven't had nothing like that in a long time. You know what I mean? I think them the little fundamentals that we are missing with a Knick point guard. And the people forget IQ came into college as a point guard. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't realize that. He came to Kentucky.
They switched him. Yeah, you're right.
Point guard. They changed him up because of Tyrese Maxey and all these guys were 1 year. Remember, IQ only played 1 year in college, but he did come in out of Maryland into the Kentucky as a pure point guard. You know, so I think you could tell he not getting 10 to 7 assists. You think about the last half of the season, IQ was averaging about 5 or 6, 7 assists a game. You know what I mean?
True. And
you know, because I think the kid is that talented. So I that's the reason why I wanted to start. I think that he got a better skill set than everybody on the Knicks team. Not nobody on that Knicks team I know other than Derrick Rose can man the point guard better than Manny quickly because we haven't seen it. So if you construct our team the way it is right now, IQ to me is a better point guard than all of them.
See, I like IQ.
But decision making is a part of it too, not just talent.
Absolutely. Right. I mean, you know, and like I said, he had to grow. He had to get better at it. But that's what the off season's for. You know what I mean? That's why I'm really judging these guys this year in the all season. These guys are going to go into the all season and learn from this year and get better. And that's what I like about the Knicks organization. Excuse me, Jarrell, because one thing about Scott Pray when he came here, he taught them guys how to go in the gym and you got to work on your craft. And I think Amanda Quickly last week they showed a video of Amanda Quickly already in the gym, just season over already. What was Amanda Quickly doing? In the gym, you know, that's what it's about. It's about learning as you go. You might got better last year. You get better this year. After this year, you get better on something else. So we do got to take it in totality that they're gonna get better. And though you work on your craft in the all season, you come back knowing that if I got to be a better facilitator, let me go work on my craft. You know, come back in the all season and then I put it out there and see if I got better at it. RJ did it. Randall do it. All NBA players do it. They go in the all season. They work on their game. And they come back, and I think RJ and Emmanuel quickly and Obi gonna beat them guys. They're gonna go in the all season. I think they're gonna work on their game. They're gonna come back with a different mindset and be more better because they had the taste of it, I guess. But I mean,
they will be better. They will be better.
They will.
Will they be good enough on the play? I think that's what we differ. I don't think they playoff team. I don't think they playoff team ready. But like Rayology said, if you want to forget about the playoffs and you just like you said with Memphis, you just want them to play and grow and develop, then they can definitely do that. As long as we not going into the season thinking that this team is going to unseed one of those top four
not
teams.
at all. That ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. Shop Powers, appreciate you. Let me unmute your mic because there's some echo. I'm not sure where it's coming from. But how are you? How you doing? Appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, you still hear me? It's an echo?
There is. I don't know where it's coming from.
I think it's because I logged on from off the chat. Off the chat, you had the thing. Usually I get it, an email or something like that. I don't want to bog down. Let me just say one quick thing. Salute to Jarrell.
It's still there. I thought it went away.
let me stop moving. Well, salute to you, Queen. Salute Divine. Salute Jarrell. And I just wanted to come in and just, but I don't want to mess, bog down the show with the echoing. So,
but the echo is when we talk, not when you talk.
Yeah, when you talk, you cool.
Oh, all right. So let me say something. I'm
gonna get these bars off there. Hold on.
Let me say something then. I mean, since we are talking about IQ, I always used to think in the beginning of this season he had a real rough season this year, and I thought that IQ. We all used to say IQ is a guard. Not saying that he's a point guard or saying that he's a shooting guard, but he was a guard out there that did certain things. Towards the end of the year, especially towards the end of the year, he came together more as looking more as a point guard to me. He started looking for people. He started he's a great rebounder, man. His he may be short in status, but his arm length is about 6'9", 6'8". He has a long arm length, so he's great with rebounding, and he keeps he's starting to keep his head up instead of dribbling with his eyes down. So I like IQ, and I think this offseason he'll be a better player coming into this season. And we may see some things that we didn't see this year, and he may start off a little quicker. I think he had trouble in the beginning of the year, right after Derrick Rose went down. He tried to find out what he was really about. Everything was pushed upon him in that second unit to really keep everybody motivated and keep everybody going. And as the year went on, I think he got better. And towards the end of the year, you see what he's produced.
Right.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me. Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. No doubt about it. You definitely saw that, especially the rebounding. As well from that position. Tibbs didn't start him when he had the opportunity to start him, and so that leads me to believe, next year, will he get that opportunity? Because there was ample opportunity to start him this year. And also, to your point, I think you're right. It took him a while to get acclimated because, remember, he was that spark plug off the bench last year. And I thought he would continue in this role. And then Kemba gets hurt, Rose get hurt, and now he's thrust into a point guard position. And it probably took him some time, to get better, at it. And I'm on record as saying that I think he's going to make the biggest leap next season because he's played two roles. He's played that spark plug off the bench. He was forced into this point guard position, and he did well over time. Remember, it took him a long time. Well, matter of fact, I think he did well with his defense all season. I think his playmaking got better as the season went on. It was his shot making. He's another one that needs to get efficient. We talk about RJ, we talk about Randall. He shoots 39% from the field also. Like, we look at him, he got a nice stroke, whatever. But he's another inefficient guy. So he has to get better, as far as that's concerned as well. But you have that experience being a spark plug. You have that experience running a team. I think next year he's going to take the big leap. So for me, whether he starts, whether he doesn't start, IQ is going to be huge next season.
So quick question. So if he's going to make the biggest leap, and I actually agree with you, and I hope he does make the biggest leap. I like IQ. Why do we want Jalen Brunson?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think Jalen Brunson is better than IQ right now.
Yes,
in terms of leadership, in terms of poise, in terms of having that experience of going against first team point guards, game in and game out. Now, I'm not going to argue with that IQ has a higher ceiling than Brunson. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to argue that in 2-3 years, quickly could be better than Brunson. I'm not going to argue that. I think it depends on what the Knicks are trying to do next season. It goes back to that same thing.
I think that will answer your question. Like, say if we do get
if they
Jalen
bring
Brunson,
in Brunson, that tells you where they're going. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, but you're right. You don't need if you just want to let them grow, you don't need Brunson.
Yeah.
You just don't. But if they're trying to make the playoffs, it depends. See, we have our thoughts on IQ. What does Tibbs think about him? What does the coaching staff think about it? If they're trying to go into the playoffs, they're asking themselves, is quickly at the point where he can be a point guard on a playoff team. That's what they're going to ask, right? But if they're not trying to do that, then no, I don't think you need to bring in Brunson.
Cool. Yeah, what's interesting with the Brunson dilemma for me, and I think Brunson would be a good point guard. Listen, I'm not, but me, I always come back to the dollars with me. You know what I mean? You know me, got up to give him $80 million, then knowing that we got to send RJ. We don't know what we're gonna do with Mitch yet. We don't, so I think it's gonna be tough because we locked into a lot of contracts. We don't even have no cap money, actually. Let's be honest. We don't have no cap money.
Not really.
So we're gonna have to wheel and deal to even get Brunson. There's gonna be a sign and trade or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And he might stay in Dallas. But I thought if you do Brunson, I thought the idea thing for me was to send Julius Randle to Dallas. send Brunson over here because either way go, they're both going to have long contracts. You might have to bring in another player with the Brunson, but if you that had to do anything, I think the Knicks that would have been the easiest thing to do a sign and trade with Julius Randle and Brunson. You know what I mean? But Julius Randle is a talent, but at the same time, I don't know if they're going to be able to go to 4 more years of Julius Randle with all that shenanigans. I think the fan base, because I don't know how we're going to put up with 4 more years of them booing Julius Randle and all that stuff. I just don't think
I'm not.
So I do think if we do, I think we do got a good shot to get Jalen Brunson if they're willing to do that, sign a trade. I think that's the easiest thing to do because you got Randle for $106 million. You might get Brunson for what, $80 million, 24 years, 4 years. So I think that might work out in the sense where you free up Obi Toppin to start, and then you bring in Jalen Brunson. So I do think Jalen Brunson and Obi Toppin is better than Julius Randle, whoever point guard we got now. I just think that's a better team.
So if that's the case, is Jalen Brunson good enough as a playmaker to unlock Obi and Mitch?
That I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question.
Like to me, it almost be some of the same stuff that's going on now. So
that I don't
know. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I disagree with you, Rayology. I think Brunson is I think you can't underestimate poise, leadership, having been there before. He won 2 championships at Villanova. A lot of times when we look at players, we do stat for stat.
Yeah, true.
This guy can score this too. IQ could score with the best of them. IQ could probably score more than Chris Paul. It doesn't make him better than Chris Paul.
Right.
I also look at, especially at that position, defense, and Quickly is a very good defender, in my opinion. Poise, leadership, be able to direct the team when things are getting hectic. And I think Quickly's decision making, like you said, Devon, that's the next step in his evolution. Just because a play is not ready right now, in my opinion, to me, that's not a bad thing.
Right.
To me, it doesn't mean that this play is not going to ever be ready. There's no, like, if you don't want to bring in Brunson and you think you may want to start IQ, you still got to have a stopgap point guard on this team in case Quickly ain't it. Like, you can't have your entire team like we did with Kemba. Then, true. Whereas he goes down, the whole thing just crashes. So fine, even if you do want to start IQ, you still got to have somebody as a backup just in case he struggles mightily. It's not fair to the rest of the team that you just struggling mightily, making a lot of mistakes, but we just going to let you rock to the detriment of the team. I think you still got to have somebody on the back end in a situation like that, like break glass in case of emergency, which we didn't have with Kemba.
That's what probably Derrick Rose comes in if he's healthy. I'm thinking.
I also think Brunson. I like Brunson. I think he's a hard-nosed, gritty guy. New York, from New York, being here with Tibbs when he was a baby, you might as well say 3, 4 years old. Knowing, picking up some of the moves, some of the guys that he used to watch from the New York Knicks, and he his.
Oh, did I?
Lost your mic.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's my mistake.
Okay. Sorry. And so I think I'm with you like this, Divine. I'm with the money thing too. $20 million, and we got someone here that we're not sure of. We also have to remember that in the summer league, if I'm not mistaken, I think Tibbs was trying to push for Quickly to be the point guard in the summer league. He was pushing to him. He would come to him at the end of the games. We'd give him a little direction. And we all seen it on the TV. And I think over the summer, in the summer league, I think they were thinking for him to be that point guard that we were looking for. And I don't know if I want to spend $20 million for Brunson. I believe if he comes here, he probably, but that takes away from Deuce then. If we bring, and that means also we have to move on for Rose. So if we bring Brunson here, we're going to shut down Deuce, and what we're going to do with D Rose.
I actually think Brunson is coming. I know this is not a point guard, show, but I think he's coming. I don't think Leon Rose signed Ryan Arcidiacono for no reason. That was his teammate in college. I don't know if everybody realized that, but plus, Leon Rose was his dad, like his dad's agent when he came into the league. I think Brunson is coming. I just don't. I'm not sure if I want him.
Yeah, that's an interesting. Hey, Queen, I thought the Knicks could have went into the go in there with McBride, Derrick Rose, Quentin Grimes, and IQ. That were your 4 guards in New York. You could have just rolled back in the season with them. Say, okay, you know what? We know we got Derrick Rose on the bench. We're gonna give Deuce McBride a chance, because one thing I like about Deuce McBride, he would be like an Alpha Payton almost. He don't need the ball. He can play some defense. He can knock down the 3. We don't need him to score 20 points. We need you to defend the other opposing team's point guard and occasionally knock down the 3. But knowing that we got Derrick Rose to back him up, or you can move quickly over there when you need him. And, I just think that's a good dilemma to have, because we got a lot of combo guards there. So I thought, like, if you don't do anything, you might just roll with Derrick Rose, McBride, Grimes, and quickly at the 4 spot, at the point guard and the 2 spot, and see how it pans out. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I know about the Knicks, if they can't get who they want, they're gonna stay flexible. Like that's one thing I like about this front office. I'm not sure who they was trying to get last year. I'm not sure if Fournier and Kimmel were their first choice, but right.
They better not have been.
Right. But when they couldn't get who they wanted, they reverted to Kemba and Fournier with the flexibilities where you can get off of those contracts. And I think the same thing this year. They at the Dallas game, even if they are considering Brunson or Donovan, you can consider all you want. You might not be able to get, you might not be able to get those guys.
Right.
And if they don't, then I'm sure they got a plan B, and I'm sure they have a plan C. Like, this front office is not a desperate front office that's just going to go out and be like, all right, well, we gotta do something. We're gonna trade these 3 young players for this 33-year-old. I just don't think they're gonna do it, and that includes Dame. I've been on record. I like Dame. It's just not feasible.
Right. There's no point.
It's just not me. I mean, his window is like this.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
not feasible. And I just don't think that's something the front office is going to do unless they have a plan to bring in 2, 3, just
Exactly.
like
Right.
Brooklyn did when they brought in Kyrie and KD, and then they went after Harden.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have no plan like that, leave Dame alone, because it's just a waste.
Yeah,
I agree.
and Queen, that's my trepidation about all this, because if you go out there spending money on certain players, are they going to get past Giannis and Middleton? Are they going to get past KD and Kyrie? Are they going to get past Embiid and these guys? So you go out there, spend all of the money, these guys who are just going to get us out the first round. To me, you just get and build the youth for a couple of years, keep your flexibility, and then you go strike that home run to put with these guys, because they done got better for 2 more years. And then, LeBron James will be 39 years old. KD will be 30. These guys will be going on the other side. And I think that's the only reason I want to go youth, because I think we got enough time in a couple of years to get these guys to a certain level. Then, like you said, you bring in some guys now because these guys got better, then we go for it. But I think, to me, to bring Damian Lillard in here with contract, Damian Lillard's not getting us past no Giannis.
No way.
Be bad.
Get us to the playoffs.
You got to. If you're gonna do that, like I said, you got to have a multiplayer plan that you bringing in all at once. But what I will say about that, even when LeBron retires and KD, there's going to be another batch and another batch, because now Memphis is gonna. So you're gonna always have competition. We would be sitting here forever, waiting. Waiting for these guys to retire. There's going to be another batch, because Memphis is on the way up.
They are.
Look at this Eastern Conference, and we talked about it before the season started. It's stacked. It is stacked.
Man, I'm scared of Charlotte in the future.
But see, Charlotte, the way they went down in that first round.
Well, I'm talking about in the future. They're really young, just like we are. But with Melo playing the point, and they got James Bouknight rotting away in the G League somewhere, like in 3 years, he is going to be a monster.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. But hey, we in a good situation, though. I tell you
that.
Good situation. I like our young team, man. I'm excited about the Knicks young squad, man. I mean, like I said, we all been watching this for years. I can't remember when Knicks had 9 or 10 players that they drafted on the same team. I can't even recall since what Timothy Mozgov and Wilson Chandler and them guys. We haven't been as an organization in this position where we got talent that we brought up and they still here and they all got talent. All we got to do is develop them and get them to another level and don't do the idiotic things. I just think we just need to roll with the punt to keep that flexibility and strike when the iron's hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. They're gonna keep flexibility until they can get the player they want. This front office is smart. They've been pretty patient. I just don't see them being reckless. I just don't. Now, I think the fan base, because we are in love with our youth, I think even if they make a good trade for a young player, this fan base is going to go crazy. Well, yeah. You know, even if they bring in a Donovan Mitchell, even if they bring in, I'm telling you, the fan base is gonna go crazy. Yeah, because you got to give to get.
Facts.
So yeah. But any last words?
Well, I just want to say, sister, appreciate you having us on. Continue prospering, man. I'm so happy for you. Real talk. You know, you're a wise woman. You know your sports, and you got a good channel here. And me just first coming to know you ABK to where you at now. I mean, that's what it's about. That's the reason why I see that the same way I see myself. My rookie year on Knicks, I'm like Emmanuel quickly, Obi Toppin. I'm a rookie year. Next year I get better at it. You know what I mean? I get more
Is this your first year, Devon? It's not your first year.
Yeah, my first 4 year Knicks Real Talk was in February.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for 1 year I did the Knicks Real Talk channel. But for you, man, I'm happy for you, man. Sister, Real Talk, man, and just keep doing what you're doing. Y'all make sure y'all go like, subscribe. Don't hide. Subscribe. Y'all know what it is, man. Support the sisters, support the channel. All of us, all the content creators. We all this as a family. You know what I mean? Support everybody, man. Because that's what it is. And we'll see you on the next one, sis. I appreciate you having me in. My door's open for you anytime. When you need me, just hit me up. You know how to do.
Yeah, I definitely will. Jarrell, any last words?
I'll go first. Salute Queen Steph. Thank you for inviting me. That came out of nowhere. I didn't know you was gonna do that. I was shocked. I looked at this morning. I was like, oh yes. As soon as I saw it this morning, I was like, yes, I'll do it. I'm happy to be here. I'm glad I haven't seen Divine in a while. Right. I'm glad to see you doing okay. I have looked at your YouTube channel in a minute, but this is the first time I've seen you personally in a minute. Salute Shy. Salute Steph. Salute Sim. I don't see. I'll save this for another time, but yeah, let's just say Sim is a huge influence for me and the stuff that I got going on, on my end when it comes to content creating, because he was the first person to that I actually saw when it came to like content creating when it comes to the Knicks stuff. Like I haven't been watching YouTube for Knicks stuff that long. Like last year is when I started right in the middle of the pandemic is when I start watching, I think. So yeah, all of this is new to me. You're not gonna, miss my face. I'll be on here again. Hopefully, Steph invite me. But salute to everybody. Salute to the chat. Salute to everybody coming through. Peace. Salute.
Yeah, Shop House. Thanks for dropping on.
Thank you very much, Steph, for allowing me to come on to your show. Dope Soul, man. It was a great thing to share the panel with you, my man Jarrell over here, and of course my partner in crime up there in the corner, my man Devon and stuff like that. I want to thank you for letting me come on, and hopefully this won't be the last time.
No, it won't. I'm gonna be going on. I'm just gonna let me just hold on. Did I?
Yeah, you good now. I think.
Yeah, you good.
Okay. I think I'm gonna be going on Tuesdays at 9.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna be going on Tuesdays at 9. So, don't feel pressured. When I drop the link, if you can make it, you can make it. If you can't, you can't. But I think I'll be going on Tuesdays at 9. Devon, I appreciate you, my brother. We started at MBK, in the beginning. And I'm just proud of you. You got your own channel. You was grinding 7 o'clock in the morning.
Morning show.
Then it was the evening show. So doing your thing and expanding your voice. So I like what you're doing over there. And I just love this community. Always supporting me, Jarrell, Shop Howells. I never take this for granted.
Word.
When somebody hops on with you, I just don't take it for granted. I'm like, wow. so and so showed up, you know,
You a
to
big
chop
deal
it
out
up
here,
with me.
Steph. What you talking about, man?
I don't really, you know what? I don't really see it that way. You know,
Nice.
I just, you know, I just do what I do, and I just appreciate it, and I appreciate Sim for MBK.
Right.
You know, that when I DM'd him and he said, "Yo, yeah, definitely, come on." We
Right.
need that voice, and then asking me to do the Queen's Court, and then the rest. The rest is history. So, shout out to to you, Sim. Still MBK fan, but I got a lot more to say, so I had to.
Get it in.
Word,
you
word,
know.
word.
So the next show, I think I'm gonna put the power forward and the center together because I don't know if it's
Yeah.
enough for two separate shows.
Right.
So we'll talk about that power forward and that center. Mitch is gonna be a pending free agent. Then the whole Obi Randall stuff. There's a lot to talk about, right there. And what I love about this community is that we can agree to disagree, but we not disagreeable.
Word, word, word.
And that's I appreciate that. And shout out to the chat, Paris, Duga or Doug, I hope I said it right. Dan, I appreciate you. Rheology, I appreciate you. Feel free to hop on anytime you want.
Wild brother right there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. JJ, I appreciate you. Walter White, I appreciate you as well. Stafford Don, Barnes Tears, Canal, Band Lawyer, appreciate you. Ally Wise. I think I got everybody. Angel Torres was with us for a little bit. Marvin, who dropped in, I appreciate you.
Yeah,
This doesn't
Marvin.
even happen without the chat.
Facts.
Tim
Word,
Smith,
word.
appreciate you.
Facts.
Geraldine MacGyver, always rocking with us. I appreciate you as well. Sammy and Russell, nothing but Knicks was here. I appreciate you as well. And King Ribby RM,
Rapey, my
I
brother.
appreciate you. We could sit here in a vacuum and create content, but unless the chat shows up,
Right.
It don't mean
and subscribe and listen, is why do it, So I appreciate you, and we are out.
Yes, indeed. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.